Hello, greetings. This is Brother Teacher once again. I would like to talk to you on a serious note today in this space and time. And it is about a current event that we all should be aware of right now that began allegedly in China, and it is now a reality throughout the world. It is the coronavirus. It has been upgraded to a pandemic now, which means that it is worldwide in terms of people who have been infected. All types of precautions have been made and taken for the present and for the future in many countries, to include the United States. So much so, there are people who are working in certain businesses and or industries where they can work at home as opposed to working at a brick and mortar or a facility. And there are people who attend college or now taking courses at home online as opposed to attending the physical college. And there are also, as it relates to schooling, many public schools across the nation that have closed for maybe undisclosed periods of time until we can get a better handle, understanding, and a better plan as to how we are going to deal with this pandemic. I heard President Trump talking about, for a while, hopefully for a little while, we're going to have to distance ourselves in some areas, especially those areas where it is more widespread, uh, the coronavirus that is. So here is what I want to give you. First thing is my disclaimer and tell you that I'm not a scientist, I'm not licensed, I'm not a professional medical individual, not a doctor, but I am one of your fellow men, your fellow Americans, who has a concern about all of us, not just simply in America, but in the world overall. And with that said, please listen to me very carefully. I believe over a period of time, many of you that follow me on this particular platform, you know what manner of man I am and what I represent. I know most of you that follow me and support me, you already understand that I would never say anything, never do anything, never disseminate any information that I'm not privy to, that I have not researched, and that I don't know that is factual for the most part, based on the information that's already been provided and already exists in the public domain. Now, with that said, please listen to me very carefully. There are some people who believe that the coronavirus, so called, is a hoax. There are some people who believe that it's nothing to be concerned about. The first thing that I want to submit is this: I believe that the coronavirus is not just something that occurred by happenstance. I don't believe that it came from an animal or animals. I believe that it was engineered by someone in a laboratory for a specific purpose. I do. Now, with that said, it is a reality. Many stores are running out of certain products and staples because there are people who are becoming uh, panicky, overly concerned, and even just simply precautious. And there's nothing wrong with that. The last I heard, particularly in the region where I'm at, is that Walmart and similar stores are running out of hand sanitizer and toiletries because of a run on their stores already. people just trying to be safe. And there is nothing wrong with that. And it's really ironic. Just a day or two ago, I just did a prepper video stating that people should always be prepared and carry the staple things in their home just in case something happens. And this is probably the second or third video I have done on carrying sufficient supplies to carry you for even months. Over the past couple years, I've done these videos. Now, it's just strange that I happened to do a video not too long ago, and all of a sudden, stores are running out of these products because of people trying to be ready for something that is probably going to be impending. It's coming. So now, if you possibly can, as I'm speaking to you, make certain that you have plenty of water in your home. Bottled water, gallons, regular drinking waters, 12, 16, 20 ounce bottles. I hope that you have those in your home already. And if you can still acquire them, you need to be going to get it now. I learned an old adage or cliche: it's better to be safe than to be sorry. Okay? And water is something that we need every single day, right? Govern yourselves accordingly. Another thing that you need to have is dry goods, canned goods, plenty of them, and a can opener. Okay? You also are going to need clothing. I'm sure most people have clothing. Socks. I said this. Now, this may not make sense to you if you're living in a house. You say, well, we already have clothes in our house. Why does he mention socks and clothing? You just never know. You may have to leave your home. Okay? Now, I mentioned a second ago, water and canned goods, dry goods. You want to have candles, flashlights, maybe a lantern, and you want to have batteries to power those things. You also want to make certain that you have two-way radio or walkie-talkies. Okay? Your cell phone could possibly be shut off at some point in time. I'm not saying it will, but it could possibly be shut off. Please comprehend this very simple and basic thing I'm getting ready to say to you. Anything that you don't control, ladies and gentlemen, someone else does. So if it's a third party that you're relying on for your sustenance, a third party that you are relying on for your gasoline to power your cars, your automobiles, a third party that you're relying on to supply your cell phone signals, those can always fail. Understand that. That's fundamental. Okay? And if those things, those elements fail, what are you going to do? And what if the hospitals are so overrun that you can't be seen if you have an emergency? Cuts or whatever, bruises, breaks. You need to have a first aid kit. This should be a staple thing that you have in your home all of the time, and you need to be trained in first aid. Basic stuff, stop the bleeding, how to put a splint on. Do you follow what I'm saying? Okay, now, with that, here's what I'm getting at. I believe, and I've said this already, and I'm saying it again, this C virus was engineered. It was created. Someone has an agenda, and I believe that that agenda is to control the human population. And I believe that it is the very beginning of it right now. I've also heard, I don't know how true it is, but write it on your thumb and keep it there. Keep it on the forefront of your mind as a possibility. They are going to have American people mandated to stay in their homes, where you won't be able to go to the grocery store, to the gas station, to school, to experience entertainment, to work, of course. what are you going to do? Can you say panic? Can you say anxiety? Can you say chaos? Don't dismiss what I'm saying. All I'm trying to do is to get you to think. What I'm saying to you is not designed to cause panic. It is not designed, it's not intended to make you so afraid that you can't function. Pull from within yourself who you really are. Plant your feet firmly on the ground. Take a deep breath and say, myself and my family are going to get through this situation. And make sure that you are determined to do so. Do not allow what you hear people say to overwhelm you to the point where you freeze and you do nothing at all. Start preparing yesterday for tomorrow. Are you following me? I hope that you are. This could be nothing in a couple months, and then it could be something as well. Do you follow? Now, we should err on the side of safety. So what I'm saying to you is not obscure, it's not unusual, and it makes perfectly good sense. It's just basically encouraging you to be safe and to be precautious and to take preemptive action if you have to. Don't wait till something bad happens. Be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Is your family important enough to you to be proactive right now? Stop depending on Walmart to be open, your Cosco to be open. You should have your stock in your home already. As a matter of fact, you should have begun once they began to talk about this so-called virus. Okay? Now, I want to share something with you. I'm not trying to preach. I just want to show you something. Those of you that are spiritual and maybe religious, and I'm going to read you something what the scripture says in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, King James Version. And just listen to me for a moment. Read this in your leisure. The 24th chapter of Matthew, starting at the 4th verse, and Jesus, or Yeshua, answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. That's not the verse. Starting here now. Verse 5 or 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. Do we have wars across the planet right now? We most definitely do. We've always been in war as a nation. And then he goes on to say, but the end is not yet. Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. What's famine? Lack of food. What's pestilence? Disease. What are we dealing with today? The coronavirus. Okay. Number 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. I just read it. I read it again. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Verse 11. And many false prophets shall rise and deceive many. Last verse in this particular passage. Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now, In light of what's going on right now, you will find people that are going to be insensitive to your cares and your needs. They're only going to be thinking about self and self-preservation. Remember the old expression, it's a dog eat dog world? It's going to be more so that and evident of that as the days go on. You're going to see people only thinking about themselves, to include your family members and people that you think or believe are your friends. They're going to distance themselves from you and try to get as much for themselves in terms of preparation, those items that's needed for survival, or they're going to try to get from you if they don't have, and not just them. There could come a time, and there could possibly come a time, where strangers will try to come into your home because they are ill prepared for such a tragedy. Are you listening to me? This is the truth that I'm saying to you. Now, we hope and we pray that this does blow over in a month or two. But as it stands right now, on March the 12th, 2020, the ball is rolling down the hill and it's picking up momentum, and it's not getting any better. So, all I can say is make sure that you and yours is protected. Don't be paranoid. Don't be so excited and so worried that you lose focus. Take care of one another. Love one another. Get with those people that are like-minded and try to strengthen one another and prepare for tomorrow and the next day. That's really it. And that's all. I'm only putting this out to get you to think. So often throughout our lives, we have taken too much for granted in America. We have always believed that we can just go make a phone call and it's going to solve our problems. We could contact our politicians, our president, our congressmen, our senators, and our governors and mayors, and they can solve our problems. But the problem solvers are no further than your own home. It's you. Sometimes it's down to just us. We must solve and resolve our own issues within our own homes. Because when those other entities are absent and unavailable, what are you going to do? You have to man up. Be an adult. Be mature. Be a man. Be a woman. And in some instances, teach your children to stand firmly as well and be a unit, unified for the cause. And that cause is survival of the human race. There's someone who has an agenda to control us, to take over our government, so that we are unified as just one government throughout the planet. This virus is probably the precursor to that. It is the catalyst in modern day time. This is not a conspiracy theorist talking. This is brother teacher speaking. What I believe is the truth. I also believe that they are going to try to quarantine us and try to force us to mandate to us to take vaccinations that contain chemicals and maybe other things that are not good for us, that could impair our health, that could even possibly take our lives over the short term, and that could possibly control us if there's a chip involved. Total world domination. Does that sound ridiculous to you? If it sounds ridiculous to you, turn the video off. Don't come back. You don't even have to comment. Just go on your merry way. But if it makes any type of sense to you, some of us are in denial. If it makes any type of sense to you, just Just think about it. That was all I had to say. Don't forget, as I'm speaking to you right now, it's not a crime to have extra toilet paper, paper towels, napkins, uh, band-aids, bandages, first aid kits, water, food in your home. It's not a crime to do that. So why does it sound so ridiculous what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's just simply common sense. All right. I'll talk to you, hopefully, if this platform is still going to be here for quite a while. But right now, gird up your loins and take care of yourselves. This is Brother Teacher. I'm out.